Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey now everybody, welcome to episode 386 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I am Trevor Anderson. Since you over to Jason Rugard, he's got a rundown for us.
Thanks for joining us on tonight's show. We're going to be talking about the two big comedies in the marketplace, The Machine, starring Burt Kreischer, and Sebastian Maniscalco's About My Father. Also going to discuss Arnold Schwarzenegger's comeback, albeit a television return, and Tom Hanks's latest, as well as Air, and Nicolas Cage's Western, The Old Way. We're also going to be discussing trailers tonight. Jennifer Lawrence's comedy, No Hard Feelings, Jason Statham's action thriller, The Meg 2, and Pierce Brosnan's comedy? Yep, you heard me right. The Netflix film, The Outlaws.
What?
Yep, stick with us. We're going to be discussing a lot of stuff tonight. But first, as always, let's do a little trivia, buddy.
We got some trivia. Let's just make sure you are recording in Audacity, right? Just so we...
Oh, yeah, we are. We're good
make
to
sure.
go.
Okay, we're good to go.
We're online.
You're getting this
good
trivia then, everybody. We're making sure. I just want to make sure. It's been a while since we've done one, you know.
Yeah,
I myself forgot the name of this app, and I was trying to find the recording app. So, yeah, there we go. But all right. All right, so we got question 131 here out of this book, Obsessed with Hollywood. And the question is, Jodie Foster's acting career began when she appeared in a television commercial at the age of 3. What product was she endorsing in the commercial? Ford Automobiles, B, Coca-Cola, C, Blue Buddy Ice Cream, or D, Coppertone Lotion? I have no idea.
I'm going to say Coppertone Lotion.
Really? You think so?
This is before our time. This is well before our time. So this is a pure guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Coppertone Lotion. You're correct. I don't know how you did that, but all right.
Pulled that one out of my ass.
That's a good one. Well, you want another one?
Yeah, I'm on a hot roll now. We don't stop when the dealer's hot.
Well, I don't. Some people do.
Hot hand and a dice game.
If you're smart, we're not smart.
No.
All right. Question 451. In the Philadelphia story, Macaulay Connor says Kittredge respects only one thing. What is that thing? Is it A, money, B, himself, C, a nice pair of legs, or D, none of the above? I don't know.
Once
what
again,
is the Philadelphia
this is
story?
a movie from like the 1940s.
I've never seen that.
This is a 1940s
I was just going to say, I've never even seen that movie. I can tell you about the Philadelphia Experiment, isn't that?
Yeah, I can tell you about Philadelphia, the movie.
Yeah, right.
How about a nice pair of legs?
No. It is B, himself.
I thought a 1940s kind of hard-boiled script.
Yeah, I feel you, yeah.
All right.
I mean, it could have been anything, really. It could have been money. Could have been anything. All right, let's get you one more.
Yeah.
Let's get you one more here. We're moving on down here. Question 516. Apparently he's picking low numbers for us today. All right. The hell does that say? When Loach, Loach, is I guess a character. When Loach asks Jake about his nose in Chinatown. Oh, okay. Whom does Jake say is responsible for his injury? A mugger, B, Loach's wife, C, Noah Cross, or D, a hooker?
The guy's wife.
No. I don't know if you heard that, but that is indeed the correct answer.
Even say this, Loach is played by film director Roman Polanski, who also directed Chinatown.
He is, that's correct.
Yeah. All right, I feel good about that, okay?
I read it as Loach the whole time. I don't know.
Who gives a shit?
We're good. We're done.
He's a Frenchman. We don't got, who gives a Frenchman's fuck over here? We're good. All right, let's talk about some movies here, because it's been a while since you and I got to chat, and you've seen something that I haven't seen that I'm very interested in checking out, and that is...
And you've seen something that I haven't seen that
I know,
I'm not
right?
interested in checking out.
So
all right.
this is how we're going to work this. So first you go, I want to know about The Machine, because this is the movie that I thought was really going to do gangbusters in the theater. I thought that this was going to be a sleeper hit this summer.
It didn't.
And it really flopped. No other way to say it. What's going on with this?
Yeah, they had a big opening. Good old. This is Burt Kreischer's movie on his very famous stand-up act, or not an act, but I don't know what would it be, bit.
Yeah,
It's
monologue.
not a bit. It's a story, monologue. Yeah, it's a big whole thing. It's actually really, really funny. If you haven't seen his stand-up, The Machine, watch that. Definitely watch it before watching the movie. But the movie's lackluster, and really he's, it takes a while for him to get comfortable in this movie. It feels like, the first act is just, I don't know. None of the acting is good. The writing's not good. You get to the second half of this movie, it's great. He's in it. And Hamill as well. Mark Hamill plays his father. Everyone's good by the end of the movie. Like, you feel like you've been through something with them. You're happy. It's good. But that first half of this film is a bit rough. And possibly too rough, really.
How much is set in the past and how much is set in the present in this movie? Is he in it quite a bit, or are they sidelining him?
A lot. Almost all of it takes place in the present, but there are segments that take place in the past.
Okay. As a screen
but almost
presence,
all of it takes place in the future. And there's a moment, in fact, when he talks to his younger self. It has one of those things, and the movie is a lot. The movie is lost kind of in just what it should be. Like, it very much feels like an opportunity arose for him to make a movie out of this, and he went for it, which he should. But it doesn't feel like this movie needs to exist, or this was a story he was really wanting to tell. It doesn't feel like any of that. And his screen presence is, as I say in the beginning, not great. He looks uncomfortable. The character that they've created for him doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just kind of a nothing character. He's kind of in the movie, he's given up stand-up, and so this is kind of his throughout the movie. This is his journey to realize he should be doing what he does. He should just be himself. He shouldn't be trying to not be himself. Type of thing. It's just it's not great.
How's the chemistry between Mark Hamill and Bert Kreischer?
It's good. In the latter half, it's not great. Mark Hamill's not even good in this, to be honest with you. In the first half, I feel like the first half of this movie doesn't feel written or directed or acted very well at all. It just doesn't feel realistic at all. And then when they get into the second half and things are bonzo off the fucking wall, and just shit's flung every which way, everybody seems to find their character all of a sudden. Everyone seems to be in their element. It's a very weird the way this plays. At least it did for me. That's how I felt. And the other half of this is that the movie's not very funny. There's not a lot of laughs in the movie. It's kind of played a little too seriously. Like, it's played too realistically. Even when the ridiculous stuff is happening, it still wants to hang on to some tinge of like danger or something, even though it's not like should this be a comedy, or should this be an action comedy, or what is an action comedy? How much action should be in an action comedy, and how much comedy should be in a comedy about The Machine, which is a stand-up comedy bit? It's weird. It's just a weird movie.
It sounds like, for what you're describing to me, that the film picks up, though, as it goes. Is that right? It gets better as it goes along?
It does. I thought it did. Yeah, I thought it definitely did. The second half, I think, is loads better than the first half. Everyone feels comfortable in their character, it seems like, by the second half, including Bert, who just, as I say, just doesn't feel genuine, doesn't feel like he is the character he's supposed to be in the movie until... I guess until he has to really just pull it out and go all out, until maybe the difference is that when bullets are flying, when the idea of like you're really under pressure and doing all this stuff, like maybe that, I don't know, woke him up a little bit or something, as far as acting goes. I don't know. Like,
I thought the trailer for this was very amusing, and it sounds like in short bits it is. No chance, though, for a sequel with the way this is performing. My question to you is, would this have played better if this was a Netflix release or something like that ilk? Would you have been a little bit more forgiving?
That's what it is. I mean, no, I would have said the same thing about it, but that's what this is. This plays like one of the Happy Madison type movies on Netflix, but less funny, more like Netflix actiony, like this took the wrong route to get to what it should be. But it's very much a slick, what was it? The Spy Who Dumped Me? Mila Kunis movie? The Spy Who Dumped Me. You know how movies like that exist that are supposed to be comedies, but they're very action oriented. They're very slick. They have all those elements to it. But that movie still leaned into a lot of comedy stuff. And that movie I thought was a lot of fun. Whereas this movie felt like it got bogged down a little bit. It had to move forward, it had to push itself forward somehow. Like it, I don't know. And it takes a long time for this movie to start. Like the first act is unbalanced. It's not good. Like I don't care. I don't need that much backstory about Bert not being able to do stand-up. I just don't care. And about his family and stuff, I still don't care. It doesn't play into the movie. Nobody gives a shit.
I wonder if that was some, behind-the-scenes tinkering or some Monday morning quarterbacking after initial.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It feels like hey, here's your opportunity. Strike while the iron's hot, and he had to do it, right? Because obviously, you got to take your wins when you get them. But yeah, it just didn't come out right, like I don't know, you had to take the green light because you got it, but it wasn't, you weren't ready, so that's really not a story that I questioned when I saw the trailer. Like, is this a story that needs to be told? And after watching the movie, I can tell you not really. No, it doesn't matter.
Regardless,
this doesn't affect the stand-up. It doesn't ruin it in any way. It just doesn't add to it, really.
I think if this movie had come out, and I think the next movie too that we'll talk about, the Sebastian movie, 20 years ago, these would have been 3 times the success that they are though today, just because of people's willingness.
I agree with you 100%, because it wouldn't have been so slick as it was now. It would have been more about the people involved. They would have done more skits. They would have had to have done more in camera stuff. They would have done more like. I don't know, it would have been more real, Movies today are very unreal. That includes the comedies and stuff. Like, they're just, they can't decide what they want to be. And like, for like some movies like a Night and Day, it works. But that's because it's lampooning Tom Cruise shit. You're not going to take Mila Kunis and put her in like some spy movie, or what was the other? Well, that's the movie Spy, right? With what's her name, the
McCarthy.
The fatted girl,
yeah.
Who's no longer fat, Melissa McCarthy. Like those types of movies like that. No one. They're just, not only are they unrealistic, but trying to be realistic, but they're also just like. There's not a lot of humanity in those, and that's what I would say this movie kind of misses.
Very rarely does an action comedy work for me. They get too caught up in the action element. I like a good action movie with a sprinkling of comedy in it, but the other way, and the ones I like never seem to get any sort of love. Like, I like I Spy over the Rush Hour films, and I Spy was shit on, but that was a good blend of action and comedy to me.
I love I Spy, but I like both of those, but I agree with you. But that was something that was done better in the 90s than it's ever done today, for 100% sure. But I agree with you. Like what is this, an action comedy or is this a comedy action? I don't know. I've never heard anyone say comedy action before, but maybe this movie should have been a comedy action and not an action comedy.
It's surprising, to be honest with you. I had no idea, but I guess it earns its R rating, not for foul language, but because of violence and action.
Yeah, and funny sometimes. Honestly, sometimes funny, like you say. But action movies can be funny, regardless. So I don't. I mean, I really wanted to see a real comedy. Is what I want to see out of this movie, and that's not what we got. Because, you've heard the stand-up of the machine. How much action is in that? Not much. None.
Yeah. Well, the mafia thing, the Russian mafia, it could be exploited, and I'm sure they do.
Sure, but.
But yeah. All right, so is that a recommendation, or is that a wait? Is that a non-recommendation? What do you got?
I would not watch it in theaters, but I would think that anyone, hey, you're going to watch it regardless, honestly, because the comedy bit is fucking so funny. I don't see why you shouldn't watch this movie, and I think that some people will really enjoy it, so I'd say watch it.
I do really like Kreischer, so I will give this a shot, but this is a Sunday afternoon on Netflix type of situation.
Yeah.
All right, the next one we're talking about is About My Father. Sebastian Maniscalco's shot at big screen stardom. He's being paired with Robert De Niro, who plays his father, who is really a running gag in a lot of Maniscalco's comedy bits. Are you a fan of Maniscalco? Have you seen a lot of his comedy specials?
I haven't seen a lot of his comedy. I think he's a really likable presence behind the mic there anyways.
Yeah, he's my favorite comedian at the moment, and as much as I like Kreischer and Bill Burr and Joe Coy and those guys, Maniscalco, I've seen him live, and he does not disappoint, and I was really looking forward to seeing this movie because I thought, well, he's writing it, they put him with De Niro, what do we have going on here? And this is the kind of movie where 20 years ago, if this has been released, it would have been a hit. But it's just its second run now. With 80 for Brady a couple of months ago, they were doing something where they were charging $5 or $6 and they were lowering ticket prices to get people in there. That's what they should have done with this movie. Look, I paid $35 to see 2 tickets for a 6 o'clock show, and the place was packed, okay? We saw it basically in a sold-out show. It was a smaller auditorium, but it was a sold-out show at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. Wow. So I was like, oh, this is actually doing pretty well. But you watch this movie, it's 89 minutes long with credits, so I got no complaint about that. I like a good 90-minute movie. But at the same time, you feel like, maybe this could have been a $5 ticket here or something. Maybe we should start looking at staggered ticket pricing, and maybe to get people to go see The Machine and All About My Father, they think about doing this tiered ticket pricing or something, because people aren't going to see comedies.
You group these together or something, you mean?
Maybe, or just realize that when a movie doesn't cost that much, that you can charge less or something, because to release both of these movies in the same weekend ate into a lot of crossover, I think. Somebody like myself, I would have seen one or the other, but I picked Sebastian because, frankly, my fiance likes Sebastian better. So, we saw that. But long story short, this is a Meet the Parents clone. It does have 2 or 3 big laughs in it, which I just personally like Maniscalco. I think he's just a really likable presence. De Niro has no comedic timing still after doing, 15, 20 comedies? So to rely on him as a comedic foil doesn't really work. My problem with this is that Maniscalco has nobody to work off of in this movie. He's left alone to work very hard to make this into something. And that's not really his personality or his comedic shtick. He's not a Jim Carrey. He does some physical comedy, but he's not 100% energy. He's more low-key and, oh my God, I want to shrink and get out of here. I want to get out of this situation. But the movie is worth seeing on a streaming platform in a couple months. Don't rush out to a theater to see it. It breaks my heart to say that because I wish both these movies had been as successful. But it's just not a big screen quality that you need to see it there. Having said that, I found myself smiling through a lot of it, nodding, and then laughing out loud in a couple sequences. But it's very minor.
That's fine.
It's a very minor film.
But there's lots of movies that I've enjoyed on home video that are not big screen movies, but then they're good. Like, that stuff's good for a small screen.
Yeah, this movie's it'll find its audience. Both of these movies that we just talked about will find their prospective audiences in much greater numbers on streaming. You're going to read an article in a couple of years from now about how these movies were flops and then found big audiences on streaming. I would think so.
I know they found big audiences.
Bigger audiences.
I don't know about that, man. I don't even know if there can be bigger audiences.
But who decided that Robert De Niro is a comedic actor? The guy has never been funny in anything, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. The Fokker movies.
Oh, come on. Is he really funny?
He was really good in.
He's not.
No, but he plays well off. Or I should say, Ben Stiller plays well off him in those movies. But his character is funny. But I know what you're saying. Those are the only movies I can think of where I'm like, oh yeah, he like that worked. But for the most part, when I see Robert De Niro in a movie and he's supposed to be funny, yeah, he's not. Even what was that Dirty Grandpa movie not too long ago? Not funny.
That movie was funnier. That movie
was funnier than this
because at least it was rated R, and they pushed the limit.
He's not funny. He's just like, I agree with you. I can't think of. That movie is what it is, but. But yeah, he wasn't funny in the movie. Like, I don't know. Even when he should have been, when you watch his acting in that, like when he's with
Efron there,
Aubrey Plaza and stuff, or Zac Efron, but when he's with Aubrey Plaza and he's supposed to be like, I don't know, just his reactions aren't like nothing.
They're too mannered. They don't come off well. I had 2 ideas as I was watching this movie of people they could have got to play this role that would have been much better. One, they could have taken a real fucking chance, and you gotta envision this with me because it goes with the Sebastian Maniscalco angle. They could have got Andrew Dice Clay to play the father. That would have been fucking fantastic.
That would have been way better, actually.
Because that's the kind of Gonzo could say anything at any moment, over Italian, you know, kind of like, oh shit, kind of live wire that De Niro's not in the film.
That would have been way, way better. Yeah.
Or if you want to go the macho route, why not Stallone? He has a touch of light comedy in him. Why not go that angle? Why De Niro? Who decided that De Niro is this comedic idol? I just don't understand it.
I think it's just the name, you know.
I think it's the Meet the Fockers and Meet the Parents kind of connection, because that's basically the storyline here.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I think it's also because it's De Niro. I mean, who... if you're Maniscalco here, you're gonna, and you get the chance to work with De Niro. When else he's gonna get that chance?
He already did in The Irishman. He did already.
Oh, was he in The Irishman?
He was. He played Joey Gallo.
I fucking hated The Irishman.
Well, he already did it. It's probably...
I didn't even finish that movie. I watched a quarter of it and turned it off. Fuck
well,
that
then you
thing.
definitely didn't get to the Joey Gallo part. It was like 4 hours long.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck that thing. But all right. So he already did. So then, no, he's a fucking idiot. Why didn't he? I like the Dice Man fucking idea, man. That'd be perfect for this movie.
Maybe we can get the sequel with the uncle. About my uncle.
I would have seen this movie if it had Dice Clay.
That's what I'm saying. My old man would have gone, for Christ's sakes. He loves Dice Man still. Fuck. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is for me. It's I did enjoy it. I did get some laughs out of it, but I can't, in all honesty, say go out and see it in the theater. It's not worth top dollar, but it is at least the only romantic comedy, I guess, out in the marketplace right now. Because if you look at what's playing out there, unless you're a fucking superhero fanatic or a 16-year-old, there's nothing to see.
What's June? I don't know what. Romantic comedy is going to be playing at this point.
There used to be a major comedy every summer. There used to be counter-programming. There's nothing anymore.
I mean, I agree with you, but that's not happening now. And certainly there's no comedy star to do that. And not that there was back then, but there was, at least when you talk romantic comedies, there was at least a female somewhere.
Yeah, you had your Julia Roberts,
star to do
Meg
that.
Ryan.
They won't do that anymore. Yeah, so I don't know.
I'm looking back at the summer of '99 on that other podcast series that I'm doing for this channel, and I was just realizing, that Phantom Menace, in its wake, Notting Hill opened up to great numbers and did fantastic business. And then later that same summer, movie, really. Julia Roberts does The Runaway Bride, which is even bigger. Not as good of a film, but is even bigger box office wise. And you're like, those are two massive hits that we don't even account for in the summer box office any longer. Like, those kind of solid comedic earners are no longer around.
They won't. Well, for a lot of reasons, I guess. Maybe we just won't talk about it, but I believe those are political reasons as to why that kind of stuff doesn't exist right now. And it's unfortunate, because I think they can make a lot of money. I think people would go see that stuff, me included.
Yeah, I agree. It's sad that both these films, About My Father and The Machine, are both major flops at the box office. All right, let's move on and talk about Fubar, Arnold Schwarzenegger's foray into television after his buddy Stallone did it with Tulsa King on Paramount. Schwarzenegger comes with Fubar, which is really a semi-sequel to True Lies, if we're, or in that vein of,
I mean, I guess.
We talked about the trailer on the last show. I'm sure everybody out there has either seen it on Netflix or the preview, so I won't go into a plot description. I'll just give you my takeaway of the first 2 episodes that I saw. I didn't watch the whole series. I've only seen 2 episodes of it. I lost interest after the second episode. I thought the first episode you talk about first act problems, I thought it took a while to develop. I did not enjoy that opening sequence with him doing the spying and retiring. I didn't think his catchphrase was very, that's it and that's all, was very clever. And I really didn't think he had much chemistry with the daughter. I thought that it felt forced in every way. And as the first episode got going, I thought, okay, here we go. But I don't know what realm this movie is taking place in. It's far goofier than True Lies ever was. And I know True Lies is not a model of reality, but that at least maintained a level of realism that I thought this show, from the opening shot, is not to be taken seriously on any level, right? But yet they want you to feel for these characters. So I was constantly confused on what the show's agenda was and what I'm supposed to feel for the main character, who, if it wasn't played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, the show would have no reason for existing at all. And I don't know, a big letdown for me on this one, as I was expecting something much better.
Well, How dare you? This is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we must love everything he does. No, this show's terrible. I've watched 3 episodes, and I'm done. I'm not watching the rest of it, which is really sad. I think Schwarzenegger is hugely fucking up lately. And I thought he was good out the gate when he came out of the governorship there, and then he just continually flopped and fucked up, and here it is yet again. You know, yeah, I mean, Stallone's Tulsa just puts this to fucking shame. And without a doubt, like, I love that show. I love the characters, every single character in that show. I don't give a fuck about anyone in this show. The chemistry's fine. I still think it's fine. It's nowhere near as good as what the trailer led you to believe. It's fine. But yeah, the story is so slow to develop. And I'm one episode beyond you, and it's unbearable, really, at this point. Like, there's no fucking point to this other than Arnold Schwarzenegger's in a show. It's I don't know. It's classic nonsense TV, just filler. It's the complete filler.
It's what it is. It's just programming to stuff up Netflix shoot in their queue. And to me, the documentary that's forthcoming about Schwarzenegger and his exploits is going to be far more intriguing than anything that these writers can make up.
What's he going to say that he hasn't already said?
That pea protein is the way to go, and he wishes he would have done it forever ago.
I mean, seriously, I don't know what more does this man have to say that you haven't already heard, or what stories does he have left? I mean, I don't want to hear about him banging the fucking maid, because that's what it seems like this documentary is a little bit about. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, it seems like a mea culpa.
I don't know. Modern Schwarzenegger is uninteresting to me at this point. You know, and anything, and like I say, he had the. Again, the name escapes me here, but the sheriff movie that he made,
The Last Stand.
The Last Stand, which is so fucking good. And then after that, it was just misstep after misstep, you know, and the movies got worse and worse.
I would say that Sabotage is an interesting failure, but it's a very depressing failure.
Yeah, but it's still not a good Schwarzenegger movie.
No, and The Last Stand is the best thing he has done, his sole project since he's been out of office.
Yeah, why is this not like that? Why? I mean, Tulsa. When you look at Tulsa King, it's like it takes fucking Stallone and it makes him a fucking monster, right? It's just like he's just grabbing life by the balls. In Fubar, it's like Schwarzenegger's like, oh, hi, what's going on? I don't know. I'm the best spy in the world, but I'm fucking stupid. It's like, what's going on?
Well, the two shows highlight a couple things.
I hate it.
One, the artistic choices that they're each trying to do at this point in their life.
Yeah.
And
I know.
two, that
one's on the right track and one's on the wrong track. I know. It's been happening for a while.
one is interested in acting and one is still interested in being kind of this larger than life icon.
Yep.
You know, and I don't think Schwarzenegger wants
and it's actually
anything warts on, you know, he doesn't want anything that makes him look bad on any level. I don't think he wants a character.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting that you say that because the opposite is actually the effect that it's happening for each of them, right? Like Stallone's looking bigger than life, and he's choosing the big acting roles and the good acting roles, and and Schwarzenegger just looks like some goofball
who's trying to hang on past his prime.
Yeah.
It's starting to look desperate. Is what it's starting to look like.
It's been desperate for a while.
And
seriously,
this, along with that CBS retread that they just tried to launch True Lies as a series that's been canceled now. I think it got halfway through its season and they already canceled it. It's just this concept. There's a reason that they didn't further it. It's, you know, to me, this was his last trump card. Schwarzenegger's was because he's tried the sequel to this and let's get this going, and they can't get Conan going, and you're now out of options. Terminator's done, and this was his last. Well, maybe we can do something with the True Lies concept, and now this is what you get, and we'll probably get another season of it because people are watching it because there's an interest factor.
I don't know. We'll only get one season more if they do it at all. I mean, I bet this dies as just a quiet death.
I didn't think
no one's gonna care.
that Fortune Femster was very good in it, and people were just raving about her.
And I usually love her, to be honest with you. She usually wins me over, and yeah, because the fucking comedy, the dialogue is so fucking bad in this. I
thought it was the editing.
Like, everyone has a snippy review. Oh, it's both, man. It's fucking both. It's like everyone has their moment. I'm just like, why are these people even in this? Who the fuck gives a fuck about these secondary characters? Why are they in this like they're fucking part of the team or something? They're nobodies. They don't do anything. Even in the third season, or in the third episode where they actually do a little bit more, I'm like, they're just fucking nobodies.
Also, I didn't find the villain very interesting. The Hispanic kid who grew up with the father that Schwarzenegger has a complicated back history with, and it seems to be kind of forgotten in the second episode as well.
Oh yeah, and even comes back here, and I know because the show I watched with my dad. My dad really some of the problem with the show is that it is uninteresting to see Schwarzenegger and his daughter bicker, and that's the fucking show. That's the basis of this show, is their relationship. It's not interesting. That's not a Schwarzenegger thing. I don't give a shit about that.
Whereas
that's not what happened in True Lies. It was his wife and stuff. But if you watch that movie, that's in there, and they go on that adventure and stuff. But he's in control. He's a totally different character than this, where he's the doting father. He's just kind of like. Ooh.
Well, let me clarify a couple things too. One, in True Lies, even though he and the wife are having a bad relationship, they are very kind to one another. There's only one or two scenes where they actually have a blowout. So that's the difference there. There's not a lot of bickering in it. And two, in Tulsa King, once again, not to bring up the comparison, I mean, that character, Stallone's character, has a much more complicated relationship and contentious relationship with his daughter based on a lot more serious things. And that is played so much more interesting and effectively. And it's just as cliched in a lot of ways, but the level of just the whole project, it's a much more serious project.
Oh,
and
it's politics, man. I mean, I hate to say it again, but that's what's going on here too. Politics, The Fubar has that very girl boss like type stuff built into it, where the daughter is very much has to be elevated up to or above his level, right? And to some extent it's played to comedic, like things where they fight over the chair they're going to sit in, and all this kind of bullshit thing, like who's going to be lead of the team and this and that. But it's also fucking ridiculous. She's a fucking tiny human being.
Yeah. And
she's mean. This is ridiculous.
She's really mad at him for a lot of, I don't know, for reasons that she's
for
now
lying
doing.
to her, even though she's fucking lying to
that.
him. I was just like, this is fucking ridiculous. You guys are just making shit up at this point. Yeah, I don't like it. And the Tulsa stuff, as you say, plays as realistic. It even though it's out there, it's outlandish and stuff, but it's based in reality. Fubar feels like, I don't know who the fuck acts like this. Who does this?
I'm
Nobody.
surprised this show has gotten as much popularity and was greenlit like this, but I think Netflix has made an investment into Schwarzenegger, and he's running with it, obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, let's talk about Air, which is an Amazon Prime film. This was supposed to be a direct-to-Prime release, and they put it in theaters. It did surprisingly well.
Did they buy it or make it?
I want to say they bankrolled it before their streaming service, and they pivoted. I'm not totally 100% on that, but I know this script was a part of the Blacklist Award winners a couple years back. I read the synopsis of it. I thought, how stupid, a movie about Air Jordans.
Right.
And I watched this on an airplane, and I'm not a good passenger on an airplane. Up in the air.
You watched Air in the Air?
I get real.
You watched Air in the Air.
It's hard for me to focus on movies when I'm flying. I'm not a good flyer, and I was into this lock and step. I put this on my favorite of the year so far, maybe my favorite film of 2023 so far, from the needle drops that were perfect to the fucking acting in this. Everybody from Chris Tucker to Jason Bateman nailed their roles, and not overdoing it, not flashy. Everybody had a little bit that they contributed, and it was sometimes humorous and sometimes not. I mean, the easygoing screen nature that Matt Damon has should be applauded, because this fucking guy slips into roles
over and over
left
again.
and right and changes
over and over again.
And just see.
I love that, by the way. I'm stealing that description. That's perfect fucking description.
I don't know. I love him in this movie. I thought Ben Affleck did a fantastic job directing something here and bringing life to a story that could have been very, very dry. This could have been an HBO film type retelling from the early 90s, but yet this felt vibrant and alive in a way that I wasn't expecting, and I enjoyed it immensely. Your turn.
After you just said everything that I was going to say, look, I don't think this story is that interesting, but I think this is executed and told so fucking well that I agree with you. It's just not that interesting of a story overall. Like the movie in general, it probably won't go anywhere. It probably won't. Really, it's not going to
be nominated.
A lot of people.
Let's be honest.
And because it's not, but you're right about as far as the execution, the direction, the acting. My God, when Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are in scenes together in this, ooh, I
It's
don't know,
electric.
man. I just like
It bristles.
It's so good. It's and they're not doing it. They're really not talking about much or anything. But the way they shoot the dialogue back and forth, it's just like, oh my god, this works. I thought the comedy in this worked as well. But other than that, I don't know. This is the same type of issues I have with a lot of these movies like this, where it's always a guy who's like, I know, it's my gut feeling, I know, and they build this amazing story out of this, and you're like, there's just no fucking way this is how this actually happened.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
No.
There's a lot of bullshit and fucking, hot air blowing up everyone's ass in this. But you're right, man. The acting's incredible in this, which is enough to watch it, but the direction as well just adds to that. And I thought the dialogue was really good. I don't know if this is a story worth telling, but the way they told it is worth fucking seeing. I'll say
that's
that.
well said, my friend. And I think that this movie could have, if you just looked at the screenplay, this could have been a play. This could have been a stage play. There's a lot of extended sequences where it's just 2 characters, 3 characters, and there's a very heavy dialogue. But the way that Affleck directs it, very subtly, but with a lot of energy when it needs to be, this thing hums along. I mean, it is well told. It's just a well told story, and I guess that's rare nowadays.
Why is he not doing more?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's clearly a great director. I mean, The Town is one of my favorite movies.
James Gunn, give this man some fucking DC movies. Give him something. This guy will take things and breathe life into them. Give him something, please, somebody.
I would say,
and he makes some bad movies here and there.
They're
He
still
does,
interesting.
But fuck, come on, they're still interesting. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Give him something big. Give him something meaty.
I think that, this, along with his performance in The Tender Bar a couple years ago, was it? He was the George Clooney film that was an Amazon film. And, his other directing gigs, even was it Live by Night, which was a very ambitious project that wasn't quite where it needed to be.
That one was not very good.
But still, there are parts of it that I really admire and aspects to it that I really admire. I just think the guy
I agree with you, but that one was not very good. That might have been the one that actually makes it. Maybe that's the one that people
hurt his career.
Or Hollywood, anyways, is shies away from. Yeah. Because that had to cost money. I'm pretty sure
it was a Warner Brothers film too, so that probably shit canned him on the Batman reboot that he was going to direct. But he made a lot of it for the Town, and Argo. I mean, those are fantastic films, and let's not forget about Gone Baby Gone, which was great too.
Yeah, which is one of the best fucking films ever made. Look, I'm telling you, give him a Michael Keaton Batman movie. I mean, oh my god.
Oh, jeez, now you're getting me excited. Hey, we might see a Michael Keaton Batman movie after they're doing Beetlejuice 2 now, and Warner Brothers is really hyping this Flash thing. I don't think we might see something like that. I don't know.
I'm hoping for it. I don't know, man. Go back to the well.
Oh, they're gonna trust it's Warner Brothers.
Go back to the well. Go deep. Go deep in there.
Well, that's heavy praise.
Dig around. See what you can find.
Trevor and I both have heavy praise for Air. I put it on my best of the year list so far. Same for you.
We'll see what the year has.
All right. He doesn't want to.
Yeah, it's. I just don't think it's a very good story. Like, it's not a story I give a shit about. So I don't know.
But you cared about the
reason,
movie. You watched the film.
It's hard to. I know it's a good movie and everything, but it's hard to get psyched about. Like, I really don't want to fucking watch it again.
Nah.
I just don't give a shit.
I did love
about the fucking idea of it.
That last scene where Damon's gonna do the jogging and he gets about 10 steps.
Yeah, and he goes,
it's
fuck
fucking
this shit.
terrible. Just fucking terrible. I love that sequence. I really did. Okay, let's move on and talk about Tom Hanks' Christmas Offering, the early year hit that came out, A Man Called Otto. This is a remake of a Swedish film, A Man Called Ove, which is
a book.
Yeah, which is it a book? It was a film too, which is evident because they eat.
It is a film too, but I'm guessing
the Swedish.
It's a book, right? I'm pretty sure. It's a book.
Okay, well, yeah, they got a book there. It seems like it would be a book.
I'm fairly certain. Let me look.
This is directed by Mark Foster, who did, amongst other things, Finding Neverland, The Kite Runner, the James Bond film Quantum of Solace, who had a bit of
it's
a hard run last few years.
'Tis a book.
But this is a very, I guess, traditionally crafted Hollywood film, and it's ultimately...
That's a nice way to put it.
I mean, it's professionally done. It's well lit. Hanks is very good in the role.
Right, yeah.
But I found this to be excruciatingly dull, this film.
Oh, you kidding me? Yeah.
And about as predictable as it comes on almost every level. And the central story here in what is being accomplished and, this this heart condition that's set up early on, and this feud he has with a neighbor. It just seemed like a lot of it was for naught. It seemed like talk about a minor story.
Well, you can do better than that. I
don't know.
You can do better. How about his wife wants him to do this stuff for his life, and then he just dies in the end. And it's like, well, what did his wife want him to do? What was the fucking point of this movie? Seriously, this movie loses its own train of thought so many fucking times. And on top of that, this Otto character and Tom Hanks is fucking unlikable. Just God.
I think he's good in the role, though. I think that the mannerisms he's doing and some of the things.
I hate the character.
But that's part of the acting.
I hate him in the movie.
I mean, that's to me. I understand that he got on my fucking nerves too.
But it's a bad movie because of that. I mean, I don't. There's no redeeming quality for this movie. Like usually you expect there to be a change in him, but there isn't. There's like a forced change with the heart thing in some way, but it's almost just like he doesn't change. It's an
afterthought.
Even at the end of the movie and he dies, he just doesn't really change. He doesn't care.
Well,
I don't know.
It's also a lot. I mean, I think there's a lot of scenes that are done in poor taste as well, with him setting up for suicide and then being disrupted. You talk about a movie that loses its train of thought. He literally is getting interrupted constantly in this movie, and then it goes into these little.
That's why doesn't he just do it?
Well, it goes something very serious.
Hey, at least it gets pretty bold with the suicide stuff. At least because there's a point when you're just like, well, why doesn't he just do this? And then he fucking, he kind of fucking tries to do it. Like,
but hold on.
But it's like at the same time still interrupted and stuff.
It gets interrupted to go for a zany episode of either let's teach someone how to drive, let's find a cat. Like, what are these sitcom?
So who is this guy? Why is he thinking of this? What is this character? How does this work? It makes no sense.
It felt like a sitcom level
but it's
story.
meant to happen. His dead wife wants him to go through this for whatever reason.
To change him.
We don't know why.
Yeah, because he's upset he couldn't get it in the military.
But it doesn't change him. It doesn't make him happy. It doesn't do anything to him. He's happy enough as it is. He's just sitting there living, and he's living well enough after that. The people who care, who have any emotions, who emote through the movie, are the other characters. He's just a piece of shit the whole time, and he changes their lives, I guess, because he just does things because he feels he needs to do them. He has to do them. That's the whole movie. I don't get the movie.
Here's oddly a strange example, because this is a lot more aggressive of a film, but and this character was a lot more abrasive. But the Clint Eastwood Gran Turismo, remember that movie? That movie, that character was a lot more endearing in the end and memorable, even though he was more hateful and spiteful. Right? But somehow you cared about that character more. That's
what I'm saying, right? Doesn't this movie lack that emotional movement, or even just feel like I expected this movie to move me in some way, or at least to attempt to say, hey, aren't you going to tear up a little fucking bit? And it doesn't. It just never, even to me anyways, it doesn't seem like it ever tried to do that.
Well, first of all, it blew the landing if it did that. I mean, there's no, with the emotional moment, quote unquote, that the big reveal at the end there, they didn't milk that for shit. That's just, it happens and then the movie's over and you're like, whoa. Like, where's the emotional payoff?
That's what I mean. What did it matter, right? It feels like, I don't know. You watch a movie like this that should be like building you up and everything, and by the end of it, I almost feel more nihilistic about the fucking world. You know, like what does it all matter? You know,
I hear you.
It's a fuck.
I hear you. All right, let's move on. This is just we both have a negative outlook on Otto, right? I don't recommend it. I assume you don't recommend it as well.
No, I don't think it's a good movie. Regardless of what you think Tom Hanks was good, and I agree with that because I saw in the trailer alone, I thought he was really good, and I thought he would make the movie good, but he didn't. The movie's terrible.
I liked him a lot more in Elvis. I'll say that. Okay, next we have Nicolas Cage's Western, a film that had a very limited theatrical release. It strangely played in a theater up by me, although they didn't report any of the grosses, so I wondered how this did in theaters. I was kind of curious just because I wanted to see what Nicolas Cage movie escaped onto about 800 screens in America, and nobody saw it. And now we have our answer with the...
I could not imagine watching this on a big screen.
No, this would have been very, very vacant on a big screen. But this is available on Hulu currently. It's called The Old Way. And a little bit of background on this movie, or kind of an interesting trivia fact, is that the armorer on this movie was the infamous armorer on Rust who had the accident. So, and apparently Cage had complained during the production of this movie about the willy-nilly gunplay and safety he felt. So maybe to his credit, he saw something wrong there. But As is, this is. I told you to give it a watch because I put it as Nicolas Cage's Unforgiven. I found myself.
Yeah, how dare you, by the way? What a fucking setup and what a fucking. I mean, God, how did you expect this movie to hold a candle to that?
I said it was Nicolas Cage's Unforgiven.
How
it wasn't
dare
Unforgiven.
you say that to me and set me? You should watch this movie. It's Nicolas Cage's Unforgiven. Is it? God.
Look, it's.
You don't think very highly of Nicolas Cage.
I love the Cage Man. I enjoyed this movie just because I've never seen him in a Western before. I thought his character was mean as spit in this movie. I really liked when he was contemplating killing his own daughter because he knew he couldn't take her on this revenge mission with him. But this movie gets a little, its shortcoming is obviously its budget. It doesn't have a lot of money to spend. So what it ends up doing is giving actors, really some good actors, a lot of dialogue and a lot of pontificating and monologuing.
One of the most flatly lit movies I've seen in a while.
But it looks good though, doesn't it?
Every single shot. It looks good because it's shot on fucking digital.
Yeah.
So sure, it looks good. And it's well lit. I mean, it's just lit.
And it's well acted. I think that the gentleman playing the sheriff who's on
the acting
Cage's side is good.
Oh,
the villain's really
good. Who he was in I forget what he was in. He was in another Western thing. 1883 he was in. Yeah, he's good. The daughter's good. The Marshall guy's good. But everyone's fucking good. Actually, I think most people in this movie are better than Nicolas Cage, but I think that comes down to his character isn't given very good dialogue. That makes, I mean, he's just not given good dialogue in the movie. I don't know. And it has weird moments. Don't you think the score, honestly, the direction, the editing's fucking horrible. The direction is interesting. So is the score, like the banjo playing stuff. And sometimes there's comedy in the movie. I don't know. His character is not well defined. Let's say that, because who goes from I'm a psychopath, I don't give a shit, to I'm the fucking general store salesman in this town, and I have to deal with all these people.
Well, it's almost like
that's the life he's chosen. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, at least you look at Unforgiven, and it's like it's believable. This is just no.
Yeah, in Unforgiven, he's on his own ranch, doesn't want to deal with anybody. But they're trying something here because they need to get him off the ranch so the wife can be attacked. So I'll forgive it that, but.
They could have sent him into town for anything. They didn't need to do what they did. This movie is oddly written, man. It really is. But I do love the idea of the psychopathic daughter as well.
Yeah, I thought that's
like that. I thought was interesting.
And I really thought that the sheriff who was trying to help, and I thought that character was very interesting. And I thought that Cage made a choice here, and his choice was to go quieter and to go under, as opposed to go bigger, which he tends to do. And the other characters outshined him because they have flashier roles.
And I think that was a mistake. Yeah, I know, but that was a mistake, I think, because in some parts of this movie, he's almost not even the main character. It's weird. Like, he's too subdued. He just gets outacted by everybody. And again, I think that's the way it's written. Like, he's just not giving it. But there are shots. Man, this movie's fucking poorly directed sometimes, though, but super poorly edited.
Yeah, the opening sequence.
The coverage is god
is
awful.
Badly covered and badly edited. That very opening sequence.
Oh my
that takes place in the
god!
past.
I've never seen. Why would you cover it like that? Like, from all different angles, and then they cut. They use every fucking camera angle. When characters turn and walk away, you get like fucking 3 cuts. Like, immediately, like, cut here, cut. 2 shot with this character, cut to the other side, 180 degrees on the other side, the character's turning and walking away. Cut to the other side as you watch that character walk away. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Why is someone walking away covered from like 4 different camera angles? And why do I need to cut? Why do I need to seal?
Because the editor had options and was going to use them all. That's why.
Oh Lord, this movie is poorly edited, to say the least. I'm not going to call any names out on this, but poorly directed as well. There's some shit when he's talking to his daughter. Around the campfire there towards the middle of the movie, which is a fucking great scene and great dialogue and stuff, completely ruined by the fucking staging of it. Just, my God, like, horribly edited. And just why are they on separate sides? How much better would that have played if she was sitting next to him as his daughter, like, and now worried about it. Yeah, and then you get a 2-shot. You can see both their faces at the same time. You can see him doing what he needs to do and see her reaction to it, because he's saying horrible shit. right? He's like setting it up like basically like I'm a fucking terrible
which is a great
fucking
scene.
dude.
That's one of the best scenes
tell
in the
you
movie.
about it, and she's almost like horrified, but at the same time, instead of just being horrified, she's intrigued, right? Because she's also a fucking horrible human being who didn't cry when her mother fucking died. Like the whole setup and stuff. I like the movie should be really fucking good, but it's just
look
I
with
don't
the
know,
daughter.
it's
I
not.
mean, the most interesting character to me was the psychopathic daughter who had the bloodline to him. And I thought, okay, the old way. He does things the
Right.
old way, but she has blood. She has the old way blood as well. You know, like there's a lot of
Oh, there you
there's
go,
a lot. So I'm looking into this, and then I started thinking there's other sequences that are so oddly or flatly done that I thought, am I putting more into this movie than this movie is putting into itself here? Yeah,
Yes.
probably.
And that's the unfortunate part, though, because there's a lot here. Like I agree with you. This is an interesting movie. It's not a bad movie. It actually is a good movie. It's just terrible. Like God, it's one of those movies where I watch and I direct it myself and I edit it myself. That's how bad it's
Well, I
done.
think that the writer and the director are the same. I don't want to say any names, but I think that it would behooved this person, and getting any movie made, I don't want to disparage it. It's a fucking chore, and to get Cage,
Oh, yeah.
we understand.
Especially like this and get Cage and stuff,
But
yeah.
just I think that for the material, this maybe would have been better off if somebody else had directed this same script. I think that you would have gotten something a little bit more impactful because the elements are there to have something great, and instead it turned out to be good and likable for me. Now, is it everyone's cup of tea? No, but
Yeah.
I think that if you like westerns and you like Cage, you'll get a kick out of this one.
It's rare to see someone take the path of taking a little girl, making her evil, and making that good, making that the good guy, making them the bad guys like that good. Actually, I don't think you would ever have seen this like in an actual Hollywood movie.
With the tweak here and there.
Yeah, thank God someone got this
With the
made.
tweak here
Yeah.
and there, this could have been a Bone Tomahawk type situation or even a horror film.
Yes, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, someone with some fucking vision. Like I'm saying, I'm not like, obviously I never directed a movie, but if I can see this shit while I'm watching this, and be like, oh my God, this is just bad, come on, like it can't be that hard, I just fail to believe it's that hard.
Well, they got extra coverage on everything, and that's evident, and they used every bit
Yeah, thank God.
of footage they had.
I got to see it. I got to see all of it. I got to see 4 fucking angles of him turning around and walking away every time.
This isn't
Thank
an
God.
action-packed film. It's a very talky Western, but it's an older person's Western in that it's about an older guy, and he's trying to come to grips with his life. But in the way that it's handled, all the other characters do most of the talking for him, about him, a la Rambo
Yes,
or First
but
Blood or something like that.
This movie missed, but you have to admit the ending fucking
Yeah, of
missed,
course.
right? Because in the ending, he should have yelled, "Child!" Tell me that wouldn't have been perfect.
I mean,
That moment exists in that movie, man, and he didn't fucking do it. They didn't put it in there, and it would have been that's the fucking ending right there, man.
that's the natural ending.
Child.
I don't know. Anything with Cage is interesting, and this is the first Western he's done, and I think that it's worth a watch.
It's missing the flair.
It is, yeah.
It really is. Like as much as I joke about because the ending is very similar to an ending of a different movie, you probably know, but it is still, regardless, even with that ending being as kind of a fucking awesome ending, or an idea for an ending
Not
being
executed
awesome.
well.
It's where's the Cage flair in this movie? Like he's outacted by everyone, and I don't think it's his fault. People have better dialogue. I don't know, they're more interesting than his character a lot of times. His character is almost, as you say, not only does he just hunker down, but it's almost overshadowed. Like in certain scenes, you're like, isn't he the main character?
He's almost internal in most of this movie. He's dealing with internal, but that works for a novel, but not for a film. Also, I think that maybe this is a case of a director being wooed by a star, because maybe he was able to wrangle in the other people and tell them exactly what he wanted, and Cage was just going to do what Cage wants to do. And this is what you end up with.
Well,
so
maybe.
it could be a case of that as well. So I don't know if this was a choice made by an actor that a director didn't have a grip on, or it was a collaborative situation and the other supporting cast were there to really fill in and color it out. Because without them, this would be an absolute just disaster, really.
Anyhow, I think we're saying
We're saying watch
regardless, right?
it. I'm
I
saying
am.
watch it too, just because it's a good little Western. Okay, let's talk about the trailers for the show. The top one we have on today's show is No Hard Feelings. This is a Jennifer Lawrence comedy that is based on a supposedly true story where some parents put out a Craigslist ad for their son to get laid. I don't think it's a true... I mean...
And then a 40-year-old girl responded?
Yeah, something like that. And this is...
She's a mother. What's going on
This trailer
here?
looks good. I laughed out loud in this trailer a couple times, and I'm surprised at how funny
Are you out of your
Lawrence
mind? I want
is.
to fucking see this movie. Of course she's funny. She's a fantastic actress. And she would do more real movies like this other than some Oscar bait nonsense bullshit that she's been trying to do. Get her head out of the sand and then make some real movies. Yeah, she's great. She's absolutely fantastic. One of the best actresses or actors working
I
right
agree.
now. No doubt.
100%.
But they're just making terrible movies and stuff. So yeah, I'm ready for this. I love teen comedies, teen sex comedies and stuff. I just find it funny that she's how old? And this movie's what? She's doing what to a teenager? And what's going on? It's just like,
This looks
how is this
fucking
working?
great.
But she looks so young. I'm sure she's playing younger than she actually
Fine.
is. So,
even
to
if
be
she's
fair,
not, even if she's supposed to be in her late 20s, I'm all for it. This looks like the kind of irreverent, raunchy kind of shit we
she's
used to
not in
get.
her late 20s, but yeah, I agree with you.
I want to see it. I think that the Red Band trailer and the regular trailer look good for this, and I think that this is going to be, the movie that I thought the Machine was going to be, the hit that I thought that was going to
Yes, I agree with you. We haven't had a good sex comedy in a while, so I'm
be. I
ready
am
for
too,
it.
and like I said, I'm surprised at how amusing she comes off on screen because she is such a good actress, and usually when they're that good, they don't have the comedic. It's very rare for somebody to have the comedic timing.
Oh, I think she's a lot of fun. I see. There were a lot of stories where she was drunk.
She seems like a great time.
And just out of control and crazy and stuff. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, exactly. And so that's been the story for a long time about her. Is that that's how she is. So I don't know that I don't know that this is so much of a stretch.
I'm willing to see it though, and I do think that the Strays movie, the dog movie, the talking dog movie, got pushed back to August, and I think that this gives this movie basically the summer season to itself in terms of comedies, and I think it's gonna be the big one.
I know it's light year on comedies.
All right, let's next talk about Jason Statham's return to the underwater action thriller, The Meg. This is a movie that was out in 2018, 17, something like that. And a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, 2018.
When we first started this website, we were sent the novel. Did they ever send you the novel? Steve Alton, the guy that was the author, sent us the novel, and I read the novel, and it's not totally like the original movie that was made. I mean, the novel and the movie differ substantially, but good for him. He got his movie made. It was big enough hit that they have a sequel. The Meg was very forgettable. I almost forgot that I saw it. I liked it when I saw it for what it was. I didn't love it, but it was forgettable.
It's not very good.
I don't know why the Meg 2 exists other than to get a money grab, and this doesn't look, even from preview-wise, as enjoyable as the last one was, which was moderately enjoyable. None of these, is what I'm saying, are comparing to the Deep Blue Sea fun level that I had with something like that. You know what I mean? Like that original Deep Blue Sea.
You mean for the third one? You're talking about Deep Blue Sea 3,
1, 2,
right?
or
That's what
3
you're
at this point. I mean, open water, any of those. I know this is supposed to be a stupid killer animal movie, but this one doesn't do it for me. I don't know what it is, but this trailer didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, this is just
Nonsense.
this is fine, I guess. It's just nonsense, big budget monster stuff. Normally, I'm all game for this, but I agree with you. This doesn't look very good. The first one really wasn't that good. I thought it was a huge letdown for me, anyways. So I don't know. Maybe this one will be better. Hey, I don't know. I still like Statham.
Statham's great, but
So all right.
this movie,
All right.
if it was Statham versus the shark, fine. But it's the extra supporting crew people, and it's never.
Yeah, and all the other extra monsters are
Yeah.
going to be in this, and all this nonsense about everything else.
Doesn't this feel
you.
directly inspired by Godzilla versus King Kong and having to expand the world?
Yes, I know. This is like a big monster. What are those called?
Yeah.
Kojai.
I know you're talking about
I can't think of the.
You're talking about the
fucking name for it,
Godzilla
but
Japanese stuff, the Mothra.
like the Pacific Rim stuff that that Del Toro there pushed for a little bit. Big monster stuff, and that's what this is, right? Basically, so it's branching out I don't know why it needs to be bigger than the first Meg, but it's branching out. It's gonna be bigger than the first one. That's the problem.
Yeah, and the subtitle here is called The Trench. This is working off an original concept. This is not based on any of Alton's books, so they are taking some creative licensing here. And this is made for the biggest international play, which is why you have a very diverse cast here, because a lot of the first film success came from Asian markets and overseas markets just in general. So. Yeah. Warner Brothers knows what they're doing, and I anticipate this to be a fairly big hit later this summer. All right, the last film we have on tonight's show is going to be The Outlaws. This is a Netflix film starring Adam Devine, Pierce Brosnan, and who's the female in it? I'm sorry, the lead actress. I'm blanking on her name.
Nina
there
Dobrev
you go.
Would be his girlfriend.
Who actually
and Ellen Barkin is the
Pierce Brosnan's.
Right. Did you say her?
No,
I don't know if you
which
said
is good
Ellen Barkin.
casting, all around good casting in this film. This is an inverse of The In-Laws, where the secret agents is his fiance's parents, and he comes to find out about it. This had enough laughs in the trailer, especially the jokes about the James Bond, that I would watch it. But I felt even in this trailer that I got enough of it before it was over. And if the trailer wore out its welcome, I can't imagine the movie's not going to wear out its welcome. And, I like these guys. I like Game Over and a couple of Lexi, especially, I thought was underrated. But these movies, a little goes a long way with these kind of these spy thriller action stuff. I mean, the Kevin James one, even the Adam Sandler, David Spade one they did, the Do-Over a couple years ago. These are typically fairly unsuccessful, in my opinion. But I'll give this one a shot.
Yeah, I think for a Netflix comedy, this looks pretty good. I like Adam Devine quite a bit. Obviously, the rest of the cast is great, and it looks interesting enough. It's streaming. I don't know. You watch it streaming. It's good, right? This would be horrible to watch on a big screen. I feel like.
Yeah, this wouldn't be released today on a big screen.
Yeah, but as far as like a straight to home video movie, this looks great. If I was watching this on VHS, I'd probably be pretty happy.
It reminds me of the even though it's totally different in terms of concept, it reminds me of the John Cena film last year. Was it Summertime Friends or Vacation Friends? Remember that? These kind of throwaway comedies that are fun and lightweight.
And that was fine. That was not a bad movie.
Even, what was the Keeping Up with the Joneses from a couple years ago with Galifianakis? Even though that did have a theatrical... But see, when you start getting the theatrical distribution model, I think they go overboard on the explosions and the guns, and they pump the... there's something to be said...
It's Netflix does that too, though, to be fair, regardless of that. I mean, this movie doesn't look like it does that, but in general, they do that. Netflix. They try to compete directly with the theatrical market.
And Devine is a good little screen presence. I mean, Anders Holmes was in About My Father.
Yeah, I really like
Workaholics
him.
co-star.
Is he in this movie?
Anders?
I don't think Oh, you're right. Blake Anderson makes an appearance here.
I'm sure
but I don't see Anders. But anyhow, I really do like Adam Devine. Out of that whole group, he's probably the most recognizable, I would think, or the most standout. Even though I think the other two are altogether, they're really great. But yeah, he's got to be easily the most recognizable outside of the group.
I would think so. And Netflix has invested money in him with his stand-up specials. They bought those, and so he had a long relationship with them. And I don't know. This is the kind of stuff, like, once again, perfect fodder for their channel. But what kind of replayability does something like this have? When we watched comedies as kids, the Ace Ventura tape got worn out. I mean, the Mask got worn out. Wayne's World got worn out.
Wayne's World, The Mask, yes. This is my jam right here telling me, yes, exactly. My American Pie, that was well
Friday,
beyond
Half-Baked.
Most of those, but Friday, Half-Baked, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I know. Austin Powers, we used to go to school and quote movies constantly. And it was always comedies. That's what you quoted.
Yeah, it's funny when you watch an old comedy.
I don't do that anymore. I don't do that to any of this shit anymore. I don't have a quote from a fucking movie to tell you for the past 10 years. I got none of them.
That's
Nothing.
A good point.
That's insane.
That's a very good point.
We used to quote movies all the fucking time.
And it's funny.
Whether people loved movies or not, they knew the fucking quotes. They knew the fucking movies.
Fuck, you're right. That's deep, man. I don't know. You just bum me out at the end of the show.
I know how deep it is. I'm just saying that's fucked up. Like, that's crazy,
well, I mean, the
right?
thing with comedies especially, too, is that you watch some of these old comedies and you realize how much of your vernacular and your jokes with your friends were based on that movie. And you go, fuck, I forgot all about this. Yeah. And, you just kind of replay these things.
I mean, maybe it still happens from the YouTube and stuff like that. Because I know that obviously there's lots of stuff that gets shared about the YouTube. And there's quotes and things that come from that and all that shit. So maybe that's taken the place of it. But if that hasn't, that's not good for movies.
No, I mean, they're no longer...
That speaks pretty poorly of comedies as far as, getting into the zeitgeist of as you say, rewatchability in general, right? Comedies have to have rewatchability.
And I can't think of one that has come out in the last 10 years that I rewatch. I think the most... common one, the most recent one would be The Other Guys or Semi-Pro or something like that. And those are fairly old, fairly old. That's what I'm saying. I can't Cop Out. Maybe I think I watch Cop Out as a placeholder when that's on. But those are just 2010. I can't think of anything in the last 5.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, something that I've watched would even want to watch over and over again. I mean, I liked. Not since like 2010 or early 2010s were movies that I watched. Like Role Models, I watched quite a bit.
Good Boys when it came out a couple years ago. That was okay.
Good Boys. I don't know. Even ones movies that I liked, I haven't for comedies I haven't watched over and over again. Like I used to maybe 10 years ago plus. I used to watch them over and over again. I don't do that anymore.
It's
or the past decade. It's just not a thing anymore. That's crazy.
It's too much content, my man. Too much content to watch. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 386. We want to thank you guys for joining us tonight on this look at 6 films and 3 trailers. We'll be back with you very shortly with a retrospective on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade to coincide with the new film opening June 30th. Thanks for joining us. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I am Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to MovieMavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!